Happy Wednesday to you, everyone. Just a little bit of pause there. Always trying to get these microphones working, and there's been a little bit of an issue as far as having to connect after you go live to get these little external microphones to work. So hopefully they're working well. Hey, today I want to talk to you a little bit about feigned helplessness. Or sometimes when you're out in the wild and you're studying wolves, a lot of biologists will refer to it as the Shakespearean effect. At least that's what I did when I was younger and doing a lot of work for U.S. Fish and Wildlife, Alaska Game and Fish. That's what we refer to it as. It's called the Shakespearean effect because there's lots of melodrama involved in it. But what is it? Well, simple. Have you ever scolded your dog? Have you ever just pointed at a dog and said, no, knock it off, stop that? And have the dog go, maybe ears go back a little bit, kind of, oh, do that sort of thing. Or even walk up to some dogs, you don't even know them. You don't even know the dog, but you reach the pet and it rolls over on its back and it tucks its tail. You guys have seen it. You've seen it at dog parks when your dog interacts with other dogs, when your dog interacts with certain people, after the dog's received maybe a correction that it doesn't understand or just you yelled no at it. We see it all the time. It's called feigned helplessness, and it's a tactic and a very effective tactic. Wolves, they've kind of evolved this thing over about 10 million years. I mean, for years and years, they have just developed this ability to interact with other members of a social group that have long fangs and claws in a way to deflect aggression. Deflect it. Again, it's kind of hard to really remain angry at someone who immediately apologizes, who acts sheepishly, who acts weak and helpless. Think about situations in your own life and personal interactions you've had with people outside your family, coworkers. Think about that, what you've seen. It's really hard. You may go, oh man, I swear, I'm going to let them have it. But all of a sudden they're meek and they're mild and they're cringing. And suddenly you go, all right. Well, that's what happens. And animals learn how to do this a long time ago. And you see here in wolves, lay on your back, tongue flicking, a very active, submissive behavior with the tongue flicking, putting the paws up, lying on your back. This is a very vulnerable position for this particular wolf. But it's doing so and trying to get this wolf to not continue on with this attack, not continue on. Dogs do the same thing. Here, in fact, I got to roll it on my iPad here. There we go. Same thing. Lie down, sometimes on their back or on the ground, cringe a little bit, look up, ears back, allowing the other animal to stand taut over it. They've learned how to do this, to deflect aggression. That's its whole purpose. And then dogs have also learned how to do it with people. Absolutely. Thousands of years of dog evolution. I mean, it took millions of years of wolf evolution to develop this little tactic. It's only taken thousands of years for dogs to develop the same tactic and use it effectively, not just against other dogs, but also humans. Learn how to do it with people. They just come pre-programmed knowing this thing. Again, feigned helplessness. And it's very effective. So effective that the issue with it is this. Many of these animals that do this are not like that 1 second after that finger goes away. 1 second after that big dog gets off of them or that wolf gets off of them. The second they leave, that animal immediately weighs what just happened versus what was happening before that event. So case in point, let's say you see a dog chewing on a shoe and you walk in the room and you go, bad dog. And you get that. Oof, my bad. Many people will stop at that. And sometimes if there's other people around, they'll look and go, see the dog go, that was a little harsh, don't you think? That was a little rough. I don't think you need to get on the dog's case so hard. And we naturally back off. We back off. And the second we do, the animal now reevaluates the situation. And if that finger pointing wasn't higher than the benefit of chewing on the shoe, then the undesired behavior will perpetuate. It will. They're weighing this. So again, this is a tactic to simply deflect aggression. It's not something that is useful for avoiding the situation altogether. This is something when you're interacting with it. And you kind of have to realize that. When I've observed wolves in the wild, the same thing with lions, the same thing with East African hunting dogs, when I've observed them, they all use this tactic. Every single predator that lives in a social group knows feigned helplessness. And they will all use it at some point. At some point, even if you grow up to be a big leader of a pride, you grow up to be a pack leader, well, you have to grow up to be that. You're not born that right off the bat. So every single dog knows how to do this, and usually every single human knows how to do this as well. It's an incredibly valuable tactic, but what you need to understand is keep it in that context. That's all it is. Because when I observe all these other social predators in their natural setting, know this. When I saw one particular animal become an aggressor, and the one animal use feigned helplessness, always did I see the attack abort. The attack was aborted. Very successful. But when these two encountered one another again for the exact same offense, and that offense can be many different things, but when it was the same offense by this individual, the attacking individual went right through the feigned helplessness. In other words, oh no, you did that last time and now you're doing this again. I'm not buying that. And they don't. They don't buy it for a second. They go right through it and they correct that other animal. So again, I've seen this work once for a particular offense. I've never seen it work twice, and anyone else that I talk to that observes animals in the wild, they report the same thing. They never see it more than twice. I think one time someone reported they think maybe they saw it 3 times. Keep that in your head, because this is something that your dog was pre-programmed with. It already knows how to do it. So therefore, pointing your finger and saying no at your dog may not be enough to stop your dog from chewing on that shoe. You may maybe try it. No. Dog spits the shoe out. Great. But then if you turn around 10 minutes later and the dog has the shoe back in its mouth, or the next day the dog has the shoe back in its mouth, well, there you go. You were just trained by the dog. Your aggression was just thwarted by using feigned helplessness. Now you're going to have to move through that and adjust your tactic yourself. Either go through it and say, no, that's it. Another type of correction. Raise the level of your correction. You're not supposed to chew on that shoe. Maybe put the shoe up so it doesn't get chewed on altogether. There's all sorts of things you can do. The whole moral of this little video is for you to understand that this is simply a ploy. That's all it is. It is in most cases a tactic that is used to immediately stop the aggression, but is it your aggression at that moment enough to stop that behavior from perpetuating? You'll find out. The animal will teach you. You will find out. And the rules when it comes to using corrections against other animals and even humans start off at the level, all that is necessary. And that could be that finger point. It could be a no. But be ready to escalate the aggression. We call it ritualized aggression, following nature's plan, following what they're pre-programmed to understand. Be ready to raise your signal to just a point that will immediately stop the undesired behavior and promote the desired behavior. And that will be different with every single individual. I cannot tell you what to use. You will have to learn that on your own. Kara and I own 3 dogs. We own 2 producers and 1 scrounger. The scrounger, that's going to work. The producers, that's not going to work. Do they all use feigned helplessness? Absolutely. But we've learned, okay, so if we want this behavior to cease and desist, then we need to take up our influence. We need to raise the signal a little bit here until we accomplish our goal. Then we're done with it. That behavior's done. Don't need to worry about that one anymore. We'll move on down the road to other behaviors. And that's the natural progression of things. But I cannot tell you how many people I've talked to, how many people I've observed, that this right here, those big eyes, those ears back, that was it. multiple times for the same offense over and over and over and over and over again. I know of dogs that have added to this. They'll actually act like they're limping if they're moving around. They'll act like they're hurt to some degree. There are some great actors out there in the animal kingdom. They're very good. These are animals that over the years have learned how to exploit some of our pre-programmed feelings. For example, our desire to find love and be loved, our desire to have loyalty and to have acceptance. They've learned how to slide through those little chinks in your armor and exploit those foibles of ours. They've learned how. Embrace it. Love it. Smart animal that you are. But again, you're also smart too. So if you get caught up against this, okay, chew my shoe. No, you let go of it. I go in the kitchen, I'm doing something, I come back, you're chewing my shoe again, and you get that again, that's where you go, curtain's going to shut on this play. Beautiful act. Wonderful act. We're going to take this thing up a notch. And keep doing that until you find that level that works. Because again, every individual has their own threshold. And it usually happens with whatever it is that they assign a high value to versus the cost that you're trying to apply. It's always a math equation. Always. If the benefit is greater than your cost, I'm going to keep doing the behavior. The second the cost exceeds the benefit, I'm going to stop the behavior. And there you go. So pretty cool little thing in there. Try it out yourself sometime. Someone's trying to get on your case. Maybe you get pulled over. You're about ready to get a speeding ticket. Try some feigned helplessness. Just go, oh, I'm so sorry. Hey, it worked. I used to be a police officer many years ago, and many people pulled that on me, and it worked. Until the second time I pulled them over, then it didn't work. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. Feigned helplessness. There you go. Tomorrow I'm going to talk a little bit more about a thing called learned helplessness. That's different. That is different. And it's much more serious on the subject matter. So be ready to learn about learned helplessness tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day. Don't fall for that more than twice. Take care.